Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. We got through another week, and I hope it was a really great week for you. It was really busy for me, so I am looking forward to just relaxing this weekend and taking some downtime and spending some time outside and all that fun stuff. So today I want to introduce you guys to an awesome new company that I just found out about, and it's a really creative new way to source grass-fed beef. So before we dive into everything, I just want to introduce myself for those of you that are new to this page or don't know who I am. My name is Jessica Espinoza, and I am a health and lifestyle coach, and I just really love helping people eat better and live better. So that is what I'm passionate about, and you can find me writing about all things food and mindset and all of this wonderful stuff at deliciousobsessions.com and jessicaespinoza.com. So two sites that you can find me at. But today we're going to be talking about Crowd Cow, and this is a new company that I was just introduced to about a month ago. And when they emailed me through my site to introduce me to them, I honestly was like, this is a brilliant idea. Why didn't I think about this? So it's essentially, Crowd Cow is essentially like Kickstarter for grass-fed beef. So I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with the platform Kickstarter. So essentially it is a crowdfunding platform. So companies and individuals, businesses can go onto Kickstarter and they can start a campaign to raise money for whatever service or product they're trying to develop. And then everyday people like you and me, we can go on and become backers for those campaigns, and we pledge a certain amount of money, and then we get a certain reward for however much money that we've pledged. And so our pledges help the companies be able to bring their products and services to fruition. So it's a really awesome way to raise money for things without having to go the traditional route of getting like a loan and everything through a bank. So Crowd Cow, they are essentially like Kickstarter for grass-fed beef, and what they do is pretty much the same thing, except you're buying a share of cow. So if you have access to grass-fed meats locally, or grass-fed beef specifically, you know that you can sometimes go in on a cow share, or you could buy like a half a cow or a quarter or whatever. So this is kind of similar to that, except you're buying it from different ranches and farms across the country. And so I'm a huge advocate of shopping locally when you can and sourcing your meat locally if possible. But believe it or not, there's a lot of people in this country that live in what we call a food desert. So they don't have access to things like grass-fed meats and organic foods and stuff like that. It depends on where they're at. But a lot of times they have to rely with going online to find whatever it is they're looking for. And so grass-fed meat is one of those things. And there's actually, there's a bunch of different vendors out there that you can buy grass-fed meats from. But I thought this was pretty unique in that it's essentially like you're bidding on a share of this cow. You can bid on exactly the cuts that you want. So there's no like boxes of like mystery meats that you're getting, so you can get just the cuts that you want. So if you want all ground beef, or if you want steaks, or if you want roasts, or if you want a combination, you can get a bunch of whatever cuts you want. So you have to check out their site to get the specifics. But then essentially what happens is you go on, you pledge to buy your share of that cow, and then they usually have to average about 50 to 52 people pledging on that same share for it to, I love the language they use on their site, so for you to tip the cow, it has to meet that level. So like 50 or 52 people or whatever the number is. So they have to get a certain amount of pledges in order to make it, essentially make it worthwhile for them and for the farmers too, to be able to ship all this meat all over the country. So you tip the cow, and then you become a stakeholder, STEAK holder, which I thought was really creative. So it's really cool. So if you check them out, I've got a link down in the video description below that you can check them out if you want, and you decide you want to pledge, then you can like rally up your friends and your family to see if they want to go in on pledges too, and then you kind of boost that up and you get more momentum and get more people to pledge on whatever share that is for that month or whatever that time frame is. So it's pretty neat. So they introduced me to their company, and they actually sent me some beef for free just to test out. And I'm never going to turn down free meat. So full disclosure, they sent me this order. I just got it yesterday, and they just sent me samples and stuff to try out to see if I liked their their service. And to be completely honest, I am a huge fan of giving people lots and lots of options to source their food. I don't feel like there should be a monopoly on real food. So the more options that I can give people of different places that they can source things like meat and organic foods and natural skincare, the better, in my opinion. So I'm a huge advocate of doing that. So I haven't actually tried their beef yet because I just got this order last night, but I'm gonna say that it's probably pretty good. It looks awesome. So it comes in a big cardboard box, and then in this styrofoam container. So I'm not a huge fan of styrofoam, but the nice thing about these, this is a really solid styrofoam container. You can see the thickness of that lid. So I very rarely get stuff in these types of containers, but when I do, I save these because these styrofoam containers, they're really durable. They'll last for a long time, and they're relatively small. So I think you can see in proportion to my body. I mean, I think the camera distorts it a little bit, but it's not huge. So these would be great to take camping or take on picnics or take to the park or to the beach or wherever. Throw some ice and some drinks and some snacks in here, and you could just reuse it until it like kind of starts to disintegrate. So at least, you know, it's not going directly in the landfill. You're getting a little bit of use out of it. So I try to reuse materials like this whenever possible, just to kind of stretch it out a little bit. So clean sealed with their little logo right there. I'm trying to do this where you guys can actually see what I'm pulling out here. So let's take a look at what we got. So we got a bunch of their premium ground beef, which is awesome because ground beef is probably the cut or the type of grass-fed beef that I use the most. So it's just so versatile. So I always keep ground beef in the freezer. And it also tells you the name of the farm that it came from. So in this case, my meat came from Step by Step Farm. And if I remember correctly, the Step by Step Farm is also who their current campaign is going for as well. And they have information about the farm. All of the farms are, you know, they're raising their animals ethically and sustainably, organically. So, you know, it's super high quality meat. And great for those people that live in the food desert and don't have access to this awesome stuff. I feel really blessed that I live in Denver, Colorado, and I feel like I kind of live in a food mecca. We have a lot of really health conscious places to shop here in Denver, and then, you know, we're not too far from Boulder, which is super health conscious as well. So I feel like we have access to lots of grass-fed and pastured meats and poultry and organic veggies. We've got great organic farms and local CSAs and organic restaurants and stuff like that. So I feel really fortunate that I live in a city like Denver where I have access to this kind of stuff. But I know that there's a lot of you guys that don't have access to this. So this could be a great option. This one is shank steaks, which is awesome because you can see there's the actual shank, and inside this is bone marrow, and bone marrow is super nutritious. I like to call it beefy butter. So when you roast these shanks, they taste really good if you can get a super good sear on them, so you get that kind of browned flavor. But then the beef, the bone marrow is super nutritious, so don't throw that away. And then you can save the bone, the little bone from this, and make broth out of it. So this one came from Harlow Cattle Company. So it looks like some of the meat that I'm getting is from different farms. So this one is another beef shank in more beautiful bone marrow. Yay! Let's see, here's another shank. So it looks like we're going to be doing some seared shanks here soon. And then we have this is from Harlow Cattle Company, a New York strip. My husband will love this because we both love steak, but I'll probably be nice and give him this one. And I'll eat the shanks because he's not as huge of a fan of the shanks as I am, especially not the bone marrow. He's not going to touch that. So awesome, New York strip. And then I think the last thing that we got was a sirloin tip roast. Awesome. So I would do this. This is from Harlow Cattle Company as well. So the sirloin tip roasts are just a great all-purpose roast for the most part. You could do this in the oven, but I will most likely do it in my Instant Pot because you just get a lot more tender meat, I feel like. And it's kind of a set it and forget it. I can toss it in. You guys have probably heard me talk about in the past, I've thrown like whole frozen chickens and whole frozen roast in my Instant Pot kind of in the middle of the afternoon, and they've been done in time for dinner. So the Instant Pot really saves me a lot of time. So this will most likely go in the Instant Pot, but I bet it's going to be delicious. So that is a look at the stuff that they sent me. So huge shout out to Crowd Cow for sending me the samples. I really appreciate that. And I'm really excited to share another option with you guys for sourcing grass-fed and pastured meats if you don't have access to that stuff locally. So definitely hop over and check them out if you're interested. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Thank you guys for the thumbs up and the hearts that I'm seeing going across the screen. I really appreciate that. And then I will be working on some recipes with this stuff. So I'll see what kind of creative things I can come up with. I actually have an idea for a steak salad that I want to do as a copycat of a restaurant dish that I get when I go to this place here in Denver. And I want to try to create it at home and make it just a tiny bit healthier. So I'm going to work on that with some of this. Hi, Crystal. So oh, awesome. So she said that they tried to do this kind of same like cow share crowdfunding thing for cattle or for beef locally in California about 7 years ago, but there wasn't enough interest. So I definitely think that the tides are turning. I kind of came into the real food world. I've been eating real food most of my life, but I kind of came into the real food world in 2009. And I've seen such a massive shift since 2009. So I can only imagine, another 10 years down the road, I think that more and more people are becoming health conscious and they're wanting to eat better. And they're wanting to just, source higher quality foods. And I think that as those tides shift, it's going to do a couple things. We're hopefully going to help improve the health of this country and of the world, but we're also going to help bring down some of the costs, because right now, a lot of times it's really cost prohibitive for, the farmers and ranchers. People like to complain about how expensive real food is. And yes, it is going to be more expensive than your conventional food, but the benefit that you get from eating real food is far superior than that. But I think that we'll see costs come down as we have more demand. So it's really exciting. I'm sorry that it didn't take off for you, Crystal, but I'm glad that we have a company that's now doing it. And so hopefully there'll just be more stuff like this and more options for people. I'm a huge fan of lots of options for real food. I don't think that there should just be one company that's doing everything for everybody. So does anybody else have any other questions? Go ahead and pop them down in the video description below. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the day and get things wrapped up. And then I think I'm going to spend the afternoon in the park doing some reading, because that sounds really nice. So thank you guys for watching today. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these Facebook Lives, probably 2 times a week or something. So keep an eye out for those. And I really appreciate you guys hopping on and watching and giving me some hearts and thumbs up and comments and stuff like that. So I will see you guys again soon. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.